I think it is clear to believe in the power of ideas.
Fresh thinking of the Manhattan Institute.
That was terrific, I thought. I really admire our two authors for bravely going into this direct pay market and trying to sort out a solution to the problem. I think the responses by Peter and Newell from a perspective of state government looking across a variety of different states, a variety of different options that have been tried in the past is very helpful. And Dan, who I've known for many years, brings the underwriting perspective, which is really on the ground, looking at insurance as basically a risk. And what you have is a broadly distributed pool, and the issue of 80-20 and managing risk across broad groups of people help you understand that. The purpose really of this event is to get questions from you, to help you help us digest what you've heard, have your questions and queries about it, objections or agreement. So I'd like to open this up for questions now. I'd like to also thank the panelists for being on time. I was given marching orders to be finished by 10 o'clock in terms of the presentations and to leave a half hour for questions. The other thing I need to ask, are the microphones live up here on the table? I don't believe they are. Are they? Okay, so I think check to see if your microphones are, yes, mics are open. What I'd like you to do if you're a questioner is to stand up, give your name and who you represent, and tell who the question is directed to. If it's to the whole panel, that's fine. If it's to an individual, that's fine too.
Wait for the mic to ask the question.
And we have the mic. Can't believe people are so reticent. Here we go.
Paul Howard from the Manhattan Institute. I was wondering if we could get the panel to kind of engage with each other, particularly around this question of underwriting and risks, and the question that Peter Newell brought up, which is, what is the real price effect that you see versus what he sees, and the effect on take-up rates, if you could engage on that.
Yeah. Okay. So a few comments. Actually, I was scribbled about 9, but I'll keep them down. The issue, first of all, about the response on premium is a valid issue, but keep in mind, if you look at what New Jersey did and what the response was after they introduced it, and you did a back-of-the-envelope elasticity calculation on that, you might see a similar sharp number. Premium matters a lot in this market, and I think one of the reasons why our model might be, if you will, closer to the ground than other models typically are, is that the data that it's drawn from that built the responses was actually from the ground. They came from roughly close to 300,000 covered lives of insurance choices across large employers and small employers, and actually looked at true human responses facing different plan choices, including the high deductible plans, which quite honestly all the literature cited by Peter doesn't even have a clue on what the HSA responses are, because all the federal survey data is underrepresented for the HSAs. That's the sad truth about it, is that the federal surveys that are done today are usually a 2 or 3 year lag. Literature published in 2007 is based on survey data typically done in 2003 or 2004, given the peer review cycle. And the HSAs weren't introduced until, in terms of full flower, 2004 in terms of seeing responses.
I guess, Steve, my question is, did you just call me clueless, or the other guy clueless?
No, I called the folks who actually managed the MEPS survey a little clueless to not oversample HSAs, given how much money and interest went into it for the Medicare Modernization Act. To oversample that to see what the true response is would make a much more robust health reform conversation today, and that was something they should have done 5 years ago.
Have they done anything recently with the federal employees? I know there was a couple of GAO studies on that population. Have they done anything recently on that?
Not enough, because to once again, to keep it down to the ground, you need to look at the claims data for the federal employees. There are about 5 or 6 federal employers or federal employee health plans that constitute about 90% of the entire FEHBP market. So the National Association of the Blues, we always think of them as a trade organization, but they actually manage benefits for about 5.5 million people. And then GEHA, the Government Employee Health Association based out in the Midwest, they constitute the other 26%. Neither of those organizations give that information up to actually see what's going on. So then you get to the Aetna data and you have no fair comparison compared to what the other market is doing to know exactly what the elasticity estimates would look like. Very frustrating. Matter of fact, we had money from the federal government to look at that and actually had to switch course 1 year into it because essentially we got stonewalled in the end by FEHBP and the National Association.